everybody. Merry Christmas and welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are here to talk about the Mistletoe Murders show on Hallmark Plus. It's kind of the last thing I think we're recapping for Hallmark 2024 programming. So it's very exciting. Wow, we did it.
What a ride.
Woo! Very fun to talk about. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Terry's here.
Hi.
How are ya?
I'm good. Got a little bit of a head cold, but I'm good.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, it's good that it's not too bad. This has
No,
not got you out
no. I
down for
wish
the count.
yeah, I sound croaky, but I wish I had that raspy, like nice sounding voice where
Yeah,
everybody's like, ooh, no,
yeah,
not me. My voice is
right.
already irritating as it is.
Yeah, yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, we were during. I got sick, and I remember Jack saying, "Hey, I kind of like the raspy."
Yeah, oh, not me. I was hoping to get that, and I did not get that. It was just, oh well.
Yeah. Well, Mistletoe Murders. This is something new that they made for Disney Plus. I keep saying that for Hallmark Plus that they made. And overall, would you say that you think the content that they made for Hallmark Plus exclusive? What do you think?
I think I think it was just a regular stuff, and I appreciate it. I do think that originally, I just feel like this was originally meant to be a trilogy of mystery movies that they decided to combine to get, stuff on
Mhm.
Hallmark Plus with the rebranding and relaunch of the streaming service.
Yeah.
Um, but overall, you know what? They're trying, they're putting stuff on.
Yeah.
And so I'll give them credit for that.
This
They're
is the
thinking
only
about it.
one that I mean, aside from the reality shows, which I think were meant for just Hallmark Plus, but
Yeah, totally.
like compared to, I think most of the other stuff, we've already seen the Jade Mysteries are going to be on Hallmark Mystery in January. I think most of the stuff that's
We're gonna get
exclusive,
everything. Yeah,
you're going
it's
to
gonna all, yeah,
see on Hallmark Channel, and which
totally.
should be interesting. It might be kind of nice for us because we will have already covered a bunch of
Yeah, it's
stuff.
true. Like all those mysteries that they gave, because even the Aurora Tea Garden and all that stuff, that's all gonna give like probably in January and February on Hallmark Mystery proper. But I do feel like this one was bumped to Hallmark Plus
Yeah.
for whatever reason, maybe to get eyeballs to it. But I
Yeah.
feel like there was I don't know, it's just what I get. It's like a change of plan. Because I
I
could have
don't know
sworn,
though, because
I don't
I
know,
just
yeah.
can't imagine this airing on either of the Hallmark channels during Christmas.
No,
Like they're not going to
exactly.
have it in Miracles of the Season for on Hallmark Mystery, and so
Well,
that's why I mean, and it certainly would not be on Hallmark Channel. I can't imagine that. So I think that this maybe was just for Hallmark Plus from beginning to end. I
I
wouldn't
could
be
have sworn
surprised.
when I originally, nah, I can't find it or remember, but I thought when this news first broke out, because I was unaware that this was based on a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I've never listened to it, so I don't know how closely it follows I know that podcast has also 3 seasons with 3 different stories, and I don't know how close they follow it. But I could have sworn they said it was going to Hallmark Mystery. I was gonna call it movies and mysteries, but that it was gonna go to Hallmark Mystery. I could have sworn I read that somewhere. But they have aired mystery movies before. Like they
Just
aired the Murder She Baked
yeah, I think that's the only
one.
one.
I think so. I think you're right. Out of all that series,
I
it
don't
is
know.
an
I just feel
odd
like it would
pick.
feel very weird to have a mystery series in the middle of Miracles of Christmas.
It's true. Yeah, that's why I initially thought it was because of the way the show
Yeah.
is formatted with 6 episodes, and essentially each story is a two-parter. It almost
Uh-huh.
feels like it was intended to be a trilogy, and it could
Yeah.
work as a trilogy too,
Yeah.
because they're
It'd be
like,
interesting to know the backstory on it, and because I
yeah.
think that I'd be interested to know the backstory for this, for Chicken Sisters, and for Holidays, because we know Holidays filmed two
Oh
years two
yeah.
years ago, and So I would imagine that
I
that
feel
was
like that was
intentioned originally for Hallmark Channel.
Rachel, knowing Hallmark, that was a last minute decision to put holidays on the streaming service.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think because they probably had the idea of the rebranding for a while before it was announced. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, and I think they might have held that off, like holidays in particular, to have something special, and extra on the streaming service. I could see them do that. And for
Yeah.
whatever reason, they chose to hold on to it, if they needed to
It will
fix
also
it
be
or
interesting to see what ends up getting renewed for Hallmark Plus
exactly. I
because
wonder about this one too.
yeah, I think this is probably the most likely of the three to get renewed.
Yes,
We know that Finding Mr. Christmas already got renewed, but as far as
that's true.
the narratives, I
Yeah.
think this is the most likely to get renewed. I think that holidays it's not going to happen. I mean, I would just be really surprised if they could even get all these people back together again after two
I
years.
haven't actually watched Holidays. I'm a little behind because I got sick,
Hmm.
but I do plan to like binge watch that on the last day of the year. That's what my
Yeah.
binge watch is going to
Mm.
be and
It
get
was
that done,
it was a little
but
uneven. It was a little
I but
hit and miss for me, but it was overall entertaining.
I do think it's fine to have a kind of mini series. I know that they've rebranded that to limited series now, but I think it's totally fine to have something like Holidays as like a mini series.
Yeah.
And I think that that would be fine because,
Right.
we
Like an
don't have to have
anthology
sequels.
series.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to have like a continuation to every single thing.
Yeah.
But I would like to see a continuation to this one. But also, Hallmark, I would like to see you like advertise. And did anybody know outside of Who Follows Sarah Drew that this was even on? It was like
Yeah.
they barely
They did. They
promoted
barely.
anything. Like a lot of people didn't know this was on
They were so weird with their
promotion this year.
promotions
They
this
barely
year.
they
Not
chose
not just
nothing.
Hallmark Plus, but like just
Hallmark in general,
so many
the whole
things in
entire
general.
year.
They would work on they would have films that were like they put clearly money and I felt like the only thing that they marketed effectively was the Chiefs movie. Everything
That's the
else
only
was
thing they wanted to market because they wanted those
yeah,
eyeballs because they were in partnership and that's what they chose to do. And I'm like, you don't market like Lacey's Christmas movie because the Christmas Quest was good and
yeah,
they didn't even market
agreed.
that. And she's like the queen of Christmas for Hallmark, at least with
Yeah.
all
Or
the
like Sugar
Christmas
Plummed, they
or
clearly
Sugar
put like a
Plum. Like,
ton of
how
money
do you
into.
not promote that?
It was
Sugar Plum
bizarre.
was so much fun, and it's so
Yeah.
weird. It is
Yeah. I mean,
weird.
why do you have Jennifer Hudson music in a bunch of these movies? And like they did practically nothing with that. Like she
Yeah,
wasn't, you think she
in
would be
years,
all over social media
right?
or,
Because in years past, they did a better job when they had Pink and
yeah.
Cher. Even last year
Well,
was Cher, I believe,
and I
right?
mentioned it on the
Yeah.
podcast before, the year of I'm Not Ready for Christmas, Alicia
Yeah.
Witt.
Oh, yes,
That song was
everywhere.
everywhere
There
for
are a lot
Hallmark.
of weird choices, and I feel like they think
Strange.
because Hallmark has a core audience, they don't need to promote, but they need to promote. But it's weird that they didn't even bother. They want all this stuff to get eyeballs for Hallmark
Uh-huh.
Plus, and I think that the new decision with having the movies pop up the next day on the streaming service is actually a good idea,
Yeah, I agree. I think that's
especially for
smart.
people who have cut cable. Like I watch Hallmark through Philo, not traditional cable, through like a separate streaming app. But for people who've cut the cord or whatever, this is smart to get people onto to their
Yeah, I
eyeballs. That's
agree.
smart.
It's a
You
little
just have to promote
confusing.
it.
It's a little
Yeah.
confusing because they're on Peacock too, and so what's happening? And then
Yeah, and I'm
new
Peacock, you
Hallmark,
have
you see
like
Hallmark
what,
movies on
right?
Netflix now. It's just like what? It's a little bit
Those
muddled
are the
about where
older
to
ones,
go.
yeah.
But I
Yeah,
do think that was a
yeah.
smart move. I do.
Actually, selling some of their older movies or licensing, I should say, some of their older movies to Netflix is a good idea because then you get people discovering that and maybe wanting to see more. So I have
Yeah.
nothing against
It's
that.
just it's
And
just
plus
a
they
little
did grab,
confusing about where do we
yeah.
go.
Well, I think it was actually smart for Netflix. They were like, we got a Lacey Christmas movie. Let's grab some of our Hallmark movies too.
Mm,
Let's
it's
get
true.
people, let's get the eyeballs on it. So they did a better marketing job
Yeah,
than
they did.
Hallmark did. But like promote your shows or the original stuff that isn't going to give right away on on the channels proper.
Yeah.
And it's weird, like, because I kind of feel like they started real hot on the groomsmen, and then when it actually got to air date,
Nothing. Nothing.
nothing.
That
And
was
I feel like
bonkers.
yeah, and then it's gonna go all out, Rachel. Watch when it airs in February or something like that on
Hmm.
Hallmark proper. They're gonna go all out for it. And I was like, you should have gone all out for it
Yeah.
originally. There's
Agreed.
just no thought about it. And you're right. I don't think this will ever give proper. And I don't have hopes it'll get a second one. I hope it does. I hope people watched it because Sarah Drew, she's
Yeah, I mean, they
popular.
leave it on a
People do
cliff,
love
kind of a
her. Yeah.
cliffhanger.
Right.
So you kind of hope that we'll get more. I do, like I said, I think this is the most likely. I don't think there's,
Mm.
I would be shocked if we get a second season of Chicken Sisters. I don't think that's going to happen.
That one I think
Oh,
was more of a safe bet. I think that they didn't want to put I'm not by safe bet I mean I think they thought they might have had a better chance on the streaming service than airing it on the channel. Like, is this what people want to see, like our
yeah,
regular viewers? But they are going to air it sometime on the channel in 2025, so that might
they
help with
are.
it getting. Yes, they are going to
Oh,
air
I
it
didn't know that.
eventually. I don't know when, but the plan was
Hmm.
we will air it at some time later, and I still don't
Interesting.
think that'll help it get a second season, but who knows? It
No.
might,
Hmm.
but
Interesting.
depends. It depends. I mean, will they that that's the plan, but Hallmark changes their minds left and right, so they might not even go through with it at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah. I mean, look at what just happened with them the way home. Them
Which
changing
was
the,
so
that
dumb
was
to make that
bonkers.
decision in a third. I get it, but in the third season to move a show that is popular for the network, people are talking about
Yeah.
it. You have people who just watch that and nothing else, for Hallmark. But to make that and say, oh, we'll air, we're gonna air it in Hallmark Plus, and then later on in the year we'll air it on
It
Hallmark
was so
proper,
dumb.
was
It was,
so dumb. And then to like backtrack that and to air it on Fridays when why don't you just air it after When Calls the Heart on Sundays? Have a double
yeah.
whammy of your original programming.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's like,
It's baffling.
especially because it's a different type of show, but like it's amazing still that When Calls the Heart is still getting good ratings and still popular in season 12. And I think that you might have people who could check out The Way Home who haven't before.
Yeah.
Even though they're
I
different
agree.
shows, they could, like, oh, what's this? Let me
Right.
check it out.
Yeah. I
It's
agree.
weird.
I
It's weird.
agree.
It's like, can I have a conversation? I would like to pick your brain on what they choose to, or
Yeah.
maybe they're
Hallmark,
under
we're
K.
available. We could help
I
you.
I have to look it up because I've been lazy and haven't looked it up. I do wonder if they have a person who is just dedicated to promoting and letting people know. Because we know because we look for it. But if
Right.
we look for this type of stuff, but they don't make announcements. We
Hmm.
never know what's new coming. It
Oh,
just
I
pops
know.
up on the streaming
And half the
service.
time they don't even have a
Yeah.
like
Do you have
poster
somebody?
for the movie coming that
No,
week.
I
It's
don't know if they
bonkers.
have people who are dedicated to do that. Like I found they and their social media account is lacking too in
Yeah.
promotion. So I don't know if they have a person dedicated to that. Hallmark, I will
Yeah.
dedicate myself to do that.
Yeah.
I got no
We're
life.
available. We
I
can
could tweet for you. I'll be like, hey, this is coming on. Watch it. I don't got a life. You know, I've got
Well,
time.
so the Mistletoe Murders, this, like you said, was is based on a podcast
Mhm.
that's, I guess, done by with Kobe Smulders,
Yeah.
from the Avengers and How I Met Your Mother
Interesting.
and everything.
I wonder if you could have gotten that cast to reprise. I guess maybe not. I think you could have. I think you could have gotten Kobe Smulders if you wanted to like use the original
Yeah, it would have been
cast.
fun
It
just
would
to
have been
even know like
fun
a
to see it.
cameo.
Yeah,
That could have been
who knows? Maybe
fun.
they didn't even bother.
But
I
I
don't
do
even.
think
Yeah.
that overall the cast was quite strong.
Yes.
The leads, obviously Sarah Drew's great, but
Yeah.
also just the various supporting players that you have coming in and out. You've got Jake Epstein, you've got Tom Cavanaugh, you've got,
Yeah, those were
different
fun
people
to
like
see.
that coming
Yeah.
in, which was fun.
I love to see Kylie Evans too.
Yeah,
We
I
got a
love
good
her.
witch. I didn't
She
know
was
she
a
was on it.
highlight.
Yeah, when she popped up, I was like, yay.
Yeah, and she made a great kind of mean girl of the town.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. I she was a standout as well for me. And
Yeah.
I told Anne, I'm like, let's contact her because we've had her on the podcast twice before during the Good Witch days, but
Yeah.
we haven't had her since 2020. So it'd be nice to
Yeah, I
reconnect and
mean, yeah, like
talk
she
to her
needs
because
to
she's
be in.
delightful.
She's delightful. Like, get her in some more movies. She was so
Hmm.
much fun, and I loved seeing her pop up here. I was like,
Yeah,
yay.
it was really good. And yeah, the summary: Emily Lane, an optimistic shop owner of a charming year-round Christmas-themed store. However, her inner voice reveals a sardonic sense of humor, cunning intellect, and keen eye for details most people would miss because Emily has a big secret. Residing in the quaint tourist town of Fletcher's Grove, Emily finds herself compelled to investigate not so quaint local murders. And when Emily begins her personal investigations, Detective Sam Wilner, a smart local cop with a crush on Emily that is not completely unrequited, begins to wonder if there's more to Emily than meets the eye. So, I mean, overall, you enjoyed the series.
Oh yeah. I think it's on par with a little bit better than some of them, but on par with what you'd expect a mystery on Hallmark to be. Like
Yeah,
with
I
the
think
yeah, how it
I
unfolds, the look of it and stuff. I think it's very much on brand, but also a little bit edgier, like a little bit more adulty, I would say, in
yeah,
not in
I
a bad
enjoyed
way,
it.
but
I enjoyed it too. I thought that going into it, I felt like I kind of was putting it off because it just seemed like, oh, this is going to be boring.
right.
This 6 episodes
I mean,
and
it's hard to fit that in with like 40 plus Christmas movies
yeah,
and everything else you have to do. It is
yeah,
hard. It's hard to
it
decide what
was
to
hard.
tune into.
I know they have to give me this year. They have to give me literally 4 series to with the reality shows to watch this holiday season, and then
Did
holidays and
did
slow
they
murders. I'm
yeah,
like,
did you get
they're trying to kill
screener?
me.
Yeah. Did you get like early screeners for this one or no?
No, I
I
didn't get
mean,
early screeners for this
okay.
one. I got early screeners for holidays
Okay. Because it
that
was
helped a little
interesting
bit.
because this popped up for me as a screener and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh,
And
maybe
they
they had
they
the.
had all the episodes up, and so I got this done in early with, and I was
Oh,
like,
maybe
"Bless you,
I
thank you so
did.
much." I was so appreciative of it, but I did wonder. I was like, how many people got a chance to see, this a
Mm.
little bit earlier?
Maybe I did, and I just didn't have
I
time. So,
yeah, there's
but
like
I
no,
did
it's true.
watch
It's like
it.
how do you have time for all this?
I actually watched
There's
this
so much to
on
do.
Christmas Day. This is my Christmas Day binge.
It's not a bad binge because they move quickly. These episodes move.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It
it's
wasn't
not that
boring.
bad.
I was afraid it was
No.
going to be boring, but it really wasn't.
No. A lot of
Uh,
I think a lot of that is Sarah Drew is very good in this. She's like
yeah,
very intriguing. It's a
she's
little
good.
different for me because I've never watched her on Grey's. I've only seen her really in her television movies. And I think this is a little different than what I've normally seen her do.
Yeah. Do you think they needed the whole sort of backstory that she's hiding something kind of element, or could have just been the little cases?
Well, I mean, obviously that has to play a big part in her secret. I guess they didn't need to put that in. But I was intrigued, but it did. I think I kind of know where it's going with the last episode, but I thought she like straight out killed somebody, like she was seeking revenge or something in the first one. And then I think I was a little disappointed, like, oh, she's not really, she's probably just like an FBI or something like that person who had somebody, that's my guess, that somebody's out to kill her and,
Yeah.
she had to go into hiding,
Yeah,
but,
I think there's probably some kind of organized crime
I thought she was going to
situation
be like
happening.
yeah, that's what I thought. I said, I think she's a professional. Because at first I thought, oh, maybe she was seeking revenge and that's what she's hiding for. Because she killed like, you know, justifiably, like in TV terms. In TV terms, like revenge is okay when you're watching entertainment, not in real life.
Right,
But
right.
let me
Well,
point
but
that out
if
because
she or
but
if
I thought it
she
was a
was
revenge tale.
responsible for when I say an organized crime thing, like if she
Yo,
was
yeah.
responsible for taking down
Oh, sure.
like a
Like,
syndicate or something like
because I was
that
like,
and
I
they're
had a
after her,
I
you
had a whole
know?
bunch of theories like, ooh, she was in a relationship, a bad boyfriend, he killed her family. That was like, and she took revenge or she helped bring them down. But I don't think so. As it goes on, she's got a lot of skills. So I'm
Yeah, I
like,
think that she probably was
yeah.
responsible for for jailing for imprisoning somebody
Yeah,
that was
totally.
mad at her, so now she's like hiding out. It's like Safe Haven Christmas edition,
Well, that, yeah, true, but that kind of makes
but
more
no
sense
ghost.
than her. Yeah, that makes more sense than her just being a regular person solving all these crimes. Like she's got
Yeah.
skills.
Oh, she definitely has
Yeah.
skills because you see that briefcase of
Oh
hers,
yeah,
with all like she definitely has
yeah,
like some kind of law enforcement
yeah. Because I was
past
kind of
secret that she's
totally,
hiding.
I was kind of hoping that she was a reformed baddie.
Oh,
Like she
like
started
in witness
off,
protection,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, something like that. Like she turned good, but it would have been an interesting arc. Like I used to be like a terrible person, and now I'm not for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I mean, that could
that
still
could
be
be
the case.
interesting. It
Yeah,
feels
that
like
could
that
still
would
be
be
the
hard to
case.
believe with Sarah Drew. She's just so like
Yeah.
that, but that would be surprising.
I was hoping for that. I don't think it'll go for that. They could still do it, who knows? But because we don't really have a clear question on, I wish they would have spent a little bit more time with clues on her background. They really didn't on what the
Yeah, I
secret
mean that's why I
was.
felt like, did they even really need this at all? It must be a
Exactly
part of the
because they don't.
podcast. I was
Yeah.
like, they could have just had them be like, oh, here's all the cases and her getting involved. They didn't
Yeah.
really need this element of this background, but like I am
Yeah.
still
She
like
could have, yeah.
relatively intrigued.
Yeah, it's totally like she also could have been like a retired, maybe she could have been a retired spy or something, starting a new life. You could have just added that in because they
But I
didn't
think
give
that's
you,
what she is. That's what I'm
it's
saying.
exactly towards the
I think
end.
she is a
Yeah,
retired spy. I think she's
totally.
but I think
That's,
she
yeah,
took down like somebody that's out to get
absolutely.
her. And so that's why
That
she's
is more,
hiding.
yeah, I'm sorry. That is more clear in the last episode.
Yeah.
That is
It's a big
probably the way that,
cliffhanger.
yeah, where they're going, that she's some kind of spy. But they could have, yeah, I just wish they threw a little bit more nuggets into that,
Yeah.
onto
It
what
did
she
feel a little bit
was.
like an afterthought. And so
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
that's
it was
why I
always
was
at the
like,
end of the
they could have just
episode.
had this be it just be cases. They didn't need that. But,
No.
it's
Yeah,
at
like I said,
least
she
to
could have
see
just
where they
come up.
go with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they didn't. I guess they, yeah. I I think I might eventually go back and listen to the podcast
Me
episodes
too.
and see how they compare and if there's a little bit more intrigue on that or what they changed because I'm assuming they might have changed some stuff to air on Hallmark, but so I
Yeah, I'm
appreciate
sure they made
Hallmark
it
taking
more
this chance.
G-rated. I'm
Oh yeah,
sure
totally.
they
I
made it more
appreciate Hallmark
G-rated.
taking this chance though. This was
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, this first case that we have, it's the first two episodes. It was probably the most gruesome of the two. I mean, it was a
Oh boy,
pretty
yeah.
like with this guy getting killed.
Steve
The
Lund,
poor
right?
Steve
I was very
Lund.
happy to see him in that. I was like, "Ooh, look, it's Steve Lund." Poor guy. And then he gets murdered.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the
Poor
way.
veterinarian Jet. Poor veterinarian June. Her fiance
Oh yeah.
is taken down. He's gone.
Ho, ho, ho! We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Yeah, so Marcus is killed. They first think that it's because of a cookie, And I guess
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
that was a
cookie.
poison. Yes, because he is.
Oh,
Oh
it's a
yeah, that was a
cookie
poison. Yes, because he is. He does have traces of
cyanide.
cyanide.
And
That's it. I was trying
and
to remember the
she gave him the cookie. And
Yeah.
so at her store, she runs this Christmas store.
Yes. No. The fiance who was also her veterinarian, because she's got adorable cats in this movie, guys, which is a
Mm-hmm.
plus because I'm a cat person. Which made me want to run out and find some strays, Rachel, after this,
Yeah.
because I have no
So
luck.
yeah, her name is
But
Emily Lane,
yes.
and she runs the store. And the only part of the casting that I didn't love was the actress playing Violet. She just looked too
Well, the
old to me.
daughter, Peter Moody's daughter. His name was Sam,
Uh-huh.
correct? Yes. The.
Yeah, so Sam's daughter
Oh,
Violet.
I kind of liked her. I mean,
I
she
think she's
kind
a
of.
good actor. I just thought she looked too old.
Oh, you're right. At first, I didn't know. Yeah, because she's playing a teenager, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
and she looked too old. But it was fine. But
yeah.
but
No,
yeah,
yes,
and
the fiance gives the cookie that got at her shop. Yes, that's how
yeah.
they get
Yeah.
introduced.
So
Yeah,
so yeah, she
sorry,
sells June or gives June the cookie that then
it's lace.
later on they find out that Lizzie that she ate the cookie, and so they know that it wasn't the cookie that took him down. It wasn't something.
Yeah,
He shared
he
the
got
cookie
he
with
was
you.
it was in something else, what I. But
Yeah.
it's a
So
way to get Sarah Jew like in the story via
yeah, get
cookie,
her
which is very
involved.
Hallmark, by the
Yeah.
way, via
Plus
cookie.
plus she'd been on the hayride the night before. They'd been
Yes.
on the hayride and at Gordon's orchard, the hayride. And so it turns out that also on the hayride is Lizzie, who is Marcus's ex.
Oh yeah.
And it's things are pretty icy
Yeah,
between them. Yeah,
and
and we find out that the reason why things are icy is because Lizzie is pregnant with
which I,
Mark.
I like. I was like, ooh, we've got pregnant people who are not married in Hallmark. This
I
is new,
know. And
like
Marcus is the father.
I know, and I was
So
like,
that is
ooh, so
scandal. And Lizzie is engaged to Trent. I think it's Trent's name. Trent works at the bank. And Marcus
poor
and
guy.
Gordon were trying to get a loan from Trent, but he turned him down. And because Gordon is in high gambling debt.
Yeah.
So he's gonna lose the orchard. There's all kinds of shenanigans
There's
down.
all kinds, like, this
Marcus.
was a very intricate plot. Like, there's so many like potential whodunits.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, we got baby mamas and we got like
Yeah,
people who need money, and it was quite interesting. And I did like the minute it ended, I was like, I'm so glad I have the next episode because
yeah.
because Hallmark Plus did this like one episode weekly, and I was like, I'm so glad I
The,
could immediately watch it because I wanted to know how it ended.
I mean, this one it was a little bit underwhelming. Who was the actual murderer in the
I
end? I was
agree. I
like,
was like, oh,
oh, it
well.
was just creepy, weird guy
And
that
as she
you.
got into it, I was like, girl, did you
Yeah.
not think
So,
this through? Like
uh,
poor decisions were made.
so Gordon
It,
was
it,
trying to get money from Marcus, and then uh
should we spoil it?
Gordon's
Yeah,
daughter finds out about the pregnancy and tries to blackmail Lizzie.
right. And she
Uh,
ends up, so full spoilers here. She does end up getting that money, but a farmhand who's like, I can't believe we're gonna lose this, ends up stealing that money and then
yeah,
blackmailing the daughter, and he's the one who actually killed Marcus. And
Marcus.
I was like, this
Yeah.
is very convoluted. Also, you're stupid that you thought you were going to be successful, getting this money and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
and then hanging around. Like the only thing that makes sense if he got the 40K is I would
I
getting
know,
out of
why is
here.
he still there? Still covering up everything and
Yeah.
and all this other stuff and trying to frame other people. And it's like, I didn't mean for this
Yeah.
to happen. I was like, dude, yes, you did. Like, but the
But
whole, yeah,
but meanwhile Sam is getting very annoyed by Emily's busybody on amateur sleuthing. And
Well,
there was
she
one of
knows how
my
to get
favorite
it done.
scenes was when they're searching. I think it's in Gordon's house. I think. And she's hiding, and she ends up hiding under the bed.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah, that was a pretty good scene.
was funny. Like, because she's doing all this stuff. She doesn't want to get involved. She's like, I gotta keep a low cover. I don't want to. But because it has her best friend who gets arrested for this
Yeah,
crime,
June
for his
gets
murder,
arrested.
the fiance, and that is her best friend, her
Yeah.
first friend in town. Also her vet, because it's hard to get a good vet out there, Rachel. So,
Yeah. Well, you know
you know.
that of course June's a good person because she's nice to her cat at the
Oh yeah,
beginning.
she's
So
nice. Yes, she's nice to
it's
animals
obvious that
automatically.
it's
Yes.
not her who did it.
Amazing. It would have been amazing if it was like
Yeah.
she was the killer. But
Well, so then Gordon gets attacked at the end of episode 1,
right.
and you think
It was a good ending for
I thought
in
that he was
cliffhanger.
dead, but he just was almost killed.
Were you a little disappointed when he was like, "Oh, I'm fine"? I was like, "Oh, it's." I hate to say this, but sometimes you need like the
A
body count is too
little more
low for the
stakes.
type of story. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
type of story they're telling. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe a little surprised that it went that way. But I did
but
like
of
the whole
course,
conversation that they have where he says, "I don't need an amateur sleuth getting in my way."
yes, but of course, it would be Emily who discovers all this, which is irritating to Sam. Like, why are you always around when something bad happens?
Yeah, yeah,
But
I
she has
know.
bad luck. She doesn't
There
want to
is a
be.
point where people have bad vibes. Like, just
Yeah,
stay away. Stay away
because
from
she is
our tea
really
garden.
struggling.
Stay
Yeah.
away from.
Yeah, because Emily's really struggling to just fit in and be normal. And she's like,
Yeah,
I can't, I have to help my friend. But she does end up always being present and she can't help
yeah,
herself. She's like, I've got to get into this investigation and do her own stuff, which is,
yeah.
part of the whole thing.
What do you
But at
think of
least
the
she
whole
knows
thing
what to
of
do.
her running this Christmas store year round?
Uh, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I wouldn't mind a job like that. It'd be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know that they have those
They
stores
do have those
in the
stores,
big
yeah.
cities, like in New York City and places. I would find it hard to believe a small town like this could support something like that, but
Year round, that is true. I
yeah,
mean, she's
but
got to do something.
it's a nice thought. It's a nice to have.
I I do wonder if they do green light this, would they wait? Because they have to pick it up almost immediately, so it could be set at any time of the year. You don't have to set this at Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you
That's
know,
true
you
because
know, so she
they,
might be having like come into my
yeah,
Christmas
that's a
shop.
good
I do
point.
have, yeah, like she could still have in her Christmas shop Christmas stuff, but also here's some St. Patty decorations. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
blend it up a bit. You're right though. It is a small town. Like, what do people need ornaments? Well, she had a lot of stuff. She had baked goods in there, Rachel,
That's
so,
true.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's a good point. So if they do a
yeah.
season 2,
It
you want
doesn't
it to
have
be
to be
right
so,
after to
yeah.
see what happened,
Yeah,
but
because
then it wouldn't be at Christmas.
could
Then it
you
wouldn't be at
imagine?
Christmas.
Right. Could you imagine, Rachel? It's like they're gonna pick it up and it's like, well, it's been a year since, he found out. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? No, you
I
have to pick
wonder
it
how the
up.
podcast deals with that.
You see that too? Like I wonder because I know that it's 3 seasons, so I think they've adapted the 3 stories. And I do wonder about
Oh.
that too.
Huh.
So
Yeah, interesting. We get more about the whole 40K and the gambling debt, and Trent at the bank, and back and forth. Lizzie, she comes with in this when we find out, oh, that you had the cookie, so we know it couldn't have been the cookie, and that helps June a little bit. And Lizzie says, I
yes,
never meant for anyone to get hurt. But they were all being blackmailed, and so she was trying to help
which is a load of
everything.
a lot. Like I don't want anybody to get hurt while I'm blackmailing you for all this money.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah, no, that's a lie. You don't really care. You just want this
yeah.
money. I
She's
get it. She's
blackmailing.
desperate. Yeah, and I mean, her dad's a gambler and also a drunk. I mean, they stole this
Oh, for
right?
Brooke. I mean, for
Oh,
no, for
that's right.
not for Brooke.
No,
For Gordon's daughter.
yes, correct. I can't remember any of these names. I'm sorry.
No,
Yes, because they steal his flask and poison his drink, and I get it,
yeah,
he's desperate, but girl, you should have thought this out a little bit more. She almost got away
yeah,
with it had it not
yeah,
been,
yeah.
for
And so
the dude.
then it goes back and forth. Trent finds out, and then there's the money back and forth. June gets released, and yeah, it turns out Gordon's daughter is blackmailing Lizzie to get the money and to pay off her dad's debts. And then you have this assistant guy. I mean, it was a pretty effective scene when she falls through the attic. She
Oh
finds
yeah,
him
because
where he'd been
she's
hiding.
yeah, like she bought a clue and just came to her, right?
Uh-huh.
And Emily's over there searching about, and then when she falls through, I was like, yes, this is how you put her in peril because she's very
Yeah.
smart. So you have to put her in peril in dangerous
Yeah.
situations in a smart way. So
And like we said, that Brooke has kind of been is a fun character throughout all of these. Kylie Evans is sort of
yeah,
the busybody of the town. She's good. She's very good.
yeah, she just
So that
pops
was
up
the
right when you need
first
it.
case. So episodes 1 and 2.
1 and 2,
So
yeah.
episode 3 was 3 and 4 was an interesting one because you have this whole thing with there had been this woman that was part of the choir that I guess is quite competitive and quite serious. It's the
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah.
Snowbells choir, and Clara had passed away the year
In a car
before
accident,
in a car
yes.
accident, and so we have this opening scene with Debbie almost getting hit by this, almost
Well, this
dying,
was,
getting
I
hit
mean,
by the
Rachel,
sled.
we got to spend a minute here talking about this because this was hysterical. To me, this 2 episodes was the most Hallmark of a
Yeah,
mystery, like a choir. But yeah, so Emily's like, oh, let me get into this spirit and see. This is an episode where Kylie Evans really shines
yeah,
because she's
I
like
agree.
competing to try to get a solo
I mean, it was
and
hard to believe. Like, it's so ridiculous that
it's
like
so ridiculous.
anybody would murder somebody
But
because
she's coming.
of a community choir. Like,
Yeah,
it's absurd.
so like Sarah Drew's Emily comes outside like, oh, they're singing carols. This is wonderful. Like I love small town, and she just happens to look up a snow like a Santa in a sleigh, right?
Yeah,
And all of a sudden you
floating
hear,
down.
but Rachel, they hear the noise in the middle of the singing. They look up. I think you had enough time to run, but everybody stands, and then all of a sudden it falls. And I was amazed that they did not kill
Debbie.
Debbie right away.
Yeah.
But when they had her lying underneath that stuff and everybody's like, oh my gosh, I had to pause and I had to laugh so hard. I was like, this is the funniest, greatest
I mean, you got
moment.
to give Debbie credit because she doesn't let anything get her down. Like,
No, she
if
was
it
up
were
to,
me, I would be like, I think I'm going to take a break from the
yeah.
choir for a little bit.
I tell you, but I had to pause, Rachel. I was like, this is the greatest moment. Like, just this whole entire, like, I was like, this is awesome. Death by sleigh. Yeah, so definitely
Yeah.
somebody's out to kill. It appears to be Debbie.
Yeah.
And
There's
it
this
involved
driver, and he says they killed my Clara.
right, his
So
wife who
he's
died in an
very
accident.
suspect.
So
Very
yeah,
suspect.
very
Clara, this
suspect. And you're
guy.
like,
So
ooh,
that was our red herring. But it was kind of fun in this one because Sam asks her to
oh
be the amateur
yes,
sleuth,
right, because she
to be the
gets
spy.
roped in by Brooke, who's played by
Yeah.
Kylie Evans, to come join the choir. We need this, and
Yeah.
of course Emily is just being a busybody. She's like, I don't. The funny thing I loved about this is she's like, she has no real like interest in it, but she's in this case, but she's like, no, I want to be nosy. And like now I gotta know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
She kind of just is like, I'm bored. I want to figure this out,
She
which is
likes
kind
putting
of
the clues together.
right. She liked it. She was like, wait a minute, I don't really care. She goes, but I can't miss this. And there's
Hmm.
a sort of joy she takes at seeing how dysfunctional and gossipy this choir
Well,
is.
and the
That's what
fact
I
that
loved
he is
about
having
it.
her be a spy was fun.
Oh, I know. And she's
Yeah.
like, she's just having the time of her life. Like, something new to do. That I liked.
Yeah. Well, and Brooke like trying to get a solo.
Oh my
Just
gosh. Like, I can
no
do
matter what,
this,
like even if
like,
Debbie, I don't know if they were ever really trying to make us suspicious of Brooke, but you know that
Oh
but
no, I just think
I don't
like
think they ever were, but still, like, boy, she's not getting a solo, no matter how many people get hit by sleds, you know. It
no
was
matter how
funny.
many times. And I was and we have got the choir director who is just she's like I hate the choir director from the beginning. She was like, I hate this job, I hate these people, but we gotta compete. We gotta go to this
Yeah, I mean,
competition.
she is like, for just a community choir, this
Yeah,
thing's
like
like,
serious. She's like,
yeah, it's very
the best,
serious.
she's like, the best singer in this choir is dead, and now I've got to deal with all you people. And she's clearly giving Demi that solo because she gave some money to keep the
Yeah,
choir going. But I just loved how they went in and like they're so showboaty. That was a really fun
yeah.
element of that.
Well, and they find out that they see her one day. Vera has a cut hand,
Yes.
and so that comes into play. That's like
Oh
a
yes,
clue.
like Debbie again, they try to knock her out, which they poison her inhaler, right?
Were you yeah, that, I mean,
Yeah.
that was a crazy scene when
That was just
she's like,
like,
she
and then
starts
Debbie
singing
again,
and it
and you're
gets,
like,
and she's
right,
like
and
croaking and she can't sing, and so then she passes out and you're like, what is
right. What
happening?
is happening? Because like they're really out to get Debbie in this one,
Oh, poor Debbie.
and it's like the husband is the prime suspect because he's been investigating his wife's death, which looks very suspicious. He saw
So
a car,
Claire's husband, yeah.
yeah, Claire, and that car was owned by Debbie at one point.
Yeah.
So, but this all happens.
There's also this whole plot of Emily giving Violet a key to
Oh,
the
oh, yeah.
store.
This part was great. Yeah, poor Emily. Like, poor Violet. She's like, I'm responsible enough and a good employee enough that I get to lock up and have a key. And then she has, not a terrible friend, but her friend. Like
Yeah.
the brother steals the key. But let me tell you, yeah. So the side story is like, she loses those keys, or she thinks she does, and then she's afraid to tell Emily. And then there's a break-in, and she feels totally
Yeah.
guilty. And it ends up being the keys fell out of her pocket, and her friend's brother, who gave them a ride, decided to steal. But when Emily puts two and two together and just scares the crap out of that kid
Pete.
by
Yeah.
wearing like all in black with a hoodie and like threatening him in the car, I was like, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna say I'm sorry and you're gonna do this. I was like, yeah, you tell him. Like that was very satisfying. I
Yeah,
was like,
Pete
that
returns the
little
key, and that
yeah.
was pretty fun.
Because at first I was like, she gonna mess up this kid. Like I was wondering how bad she's gonna do it. She's
Yeah, I
like,
mean, I was surprised when she literally holds up Pete in the back of his car.
right. She's all
I
dressed
was
in black.
like,
You're like, okay, what's
what?
she doing? What's
This is
she
crazy
doing?
for Hallmark. I wrote down that was crazy.
I loved it though. I was like, you tell that little snot, what's what.
So
Like,
then they say that Vera's ego is her weak spot. So were you
oh.
suspicious of Vera from the beginning?
Oh, I absolutely knew from the beginning. There was no
Yeah.
surprise of who the guilt. I thought it was very obvious, but I did love just the whole, story leading up to that. Like I didn't even care that I
Yeah.
figured out who it was. It was just so entertaining, and like
So
the
the
actress who played
husband
Debbie was great,
the
though.
husband did try to kill Debbie. He was the
Yes,
one with the sleigh
yeah,
because he thought that it was Debbie who killed Clara.
right, and it was her car. But then we find out that she had had an attack the night that Clara had died, and she had to go to the emergency room, and Vera drove her and then took her car. But I
Yeah.
love the actress who played Debbie because she was so over the top and so prim,
Yeah,
but
she was really good.
But
She
I just
was
love
excellent.
like these people, like she's talking to like Emily's talking to everybody, and these people just spill their guts. They don't even know her. Like, tell me
Right.
what happened, and like I don't know if Emily quite has that face where like, yes, I'm gonna tell you my life story, but we got to get story
Yeah.
moving. Yeah.
Well, so she goes to Adam's mobile home RV place, and
Boy, that looked like a serial killer lived there, right? Like a
it
serial
really
killer lived
did.
there. It really did. I
It
love
really
it.
did.
Because the minute she gets there before Sam gets there, and she's looking around and she's like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah, I
Like,
I
yeah.
would be very hesitant to to go
I
there.
was like, okay, they did a good job. I was like, yeah, this
Yeah.
guy's guilty of something. But yeah.
Yeah, and he's dead. And the
Oh man,
key is she finds him in Debbie's car,
in the trunk.
and she opens the trunk and cuts her hand, and in the same way that I mean, I don't think any of this would be that compelling in a court of law, but nevertheless in the show, we'll be like, oh, it's the same cut.
Oh, right. Like it's so
Uh,
funny because she's checking out. She's like, because he's got a whole bunch of like cars, and she's checking out this. But when she has to call
like
Sam, like,
two human beings having the same cut, I do not think
in the same exact
is concrete
location.
evidence for
I
murder.
do love when it's like that moment when the realization for Emily, it's like, oh, she bought a clue, like that ding, that bell moment, when she puts two
Hmm.
and two together. I just love that reaction. But it's so funny when she calls up Sam, she goes, yeah, I found him, and he's like, oh,
Right.
he's dead in the car. And he's like, what were you doing here?
But I think it's like actually in the next episode when they did a very good job with her taking down showing her self-defense prowess
Right. And it was,
because sometimes it's like if, there's no way this small woman
yes,
could
it was
take
believable.
be,
Right.
but
Yeah,
like the way they did it because it's not about necessarily being stronger than the other person or bigger than the other person. It's how you use their force against them.
exactly. I thought
And
it was
people that
very
know how to
well.
do
Yeah.
that,
It was
it was
well done.
very
I was
good.
like, yes, this is believable that they could have a fight and that she could
Yeah.
win because the way she handled herself.
So yeah, I was a little bit confused about what was going on with so the husband, his name is Adam. He's working on like the electrical grid. Like what was he trying to do with the
Oh,
electricity?
because he blamed the choir. He really blamed Debbie because he
He
thought it was
blamed
her.
Debbie.
Yes, because she died in a car accident. Like her car was
I
hit and
got
she
that,
fell in a
and he was
ditch.
responsible for the sled,
Right. No, he was
and
responsible
the,
for
but
that.
what was
But he
he
was going
trying
to
to
kill the
do with
whole
the
choir.
electricity? Was he trying to
Yes, he
electrocute her, or what was he
no,
doing?
he put like some. Yes, what he was trying to do was he was like, I'm gonna just take out. He was gonna take out Vera, but also the entire um choir through having the faulty electric work with the tree, like start a fire and electrocute
Jeez.
them, like kind of like a mini bomb,
It's
I
like
think it
now
was.
he's become like a mass murderer.
Right.
I
So he
mean,
was,
that's
yes,
intense.
he was like, he was plotting bad stuff, but Vera caught on because he caught on to Vera as well, and then Vera had to kill him. But she didn't want to kill him. Because Vera killed Clara out of jealousy. Because Vera used to be the singer and stuff, and Clara was leaving. And she was
Yeah,
like, you can't leave our choir. Like, you're the best singer. Clearly, she was the best
that's
singer.
absurd. But
Yeah.
I was a little bit confused about what's going on with electricity. That was a
Yeah, I
little
just think
confusing to
he
me.
wanted to kill Vera and he wanted to just seek revenge against everybody in that choir. He blamed everybody for his wife's death.
Yeah.
But
And poor Brooke, she finally gets her
yes.
solo.
Oh, the video
Yeah.
of her failing at
And
her last solo was like priceless. She was like, "What happened at her last solo?" And I loved how everybody in the choir, girl, you gotta watch this video. Like they had it at the ready to show.
but Emily saves Brooke
Did a run and a dive. Yeah.
from the microphone that's gonna go up in flames.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you think
I
you could
don't.
do that? Like through electricity, make something like literally go into flames like that?
I mean, I guess it depends, I think. I don't know if it
I
would
feel
go
like you
into
need some kind of
flame.
spark, some kind of ignition
You would. I'm
to
not
make a
sure that
flame.
was. I'm not sure that was well thought out, but it was just a plot device to have Sarah
Yeah.
June
But it
tackle
was fun to
Riley
have her
Evans.
save
Yeah.
Brooke.
She like tackles her to the ground, and Brooke is like, "Excuse me, my solo."
Yeah. So we get a lot of back and forth, and he asks her why have a Christmas store. And that if it turns out that her parents had a car accident on New Year's Eve, so the last happy memories were on Christmas. We're getting more to learn more about her, and we have a near kiss.
Right, which was fun.
Yeah.
Did you
And
like
then
Peter Mooney here? Do you think he was
yeah,
swoon worthy? Because he
yeah,
was
I
a
thought it
little
was good.
swoon worthy and stuff, especially in the last in the final two episodes. He's a little bit more swoon worthy there. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I liked him. I thought they had pretty good
yeah,
chemistry.
I did too.
And but then she gets the notice on her screen. I know you are there and we'll
Yeah,
find
so
you.
somebody, yes, so we're going in with somebody knows where she's at because she's still looking for this person, and they are obviously looking for her as well, and so she's still a little paranoid about her
Yeah.
past.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Then we have the final case is Death of a Humbug, part 1 and 2.
What a title.
Yeah. And we meet Tom Cavanaugh's character, Glenn. And he's kind of grumpy, but he's a vintage bookstore owner, rare books store owner. And she really wants a particular edition of Christmas Carol, not the first edition, but a particular edition that her parents read to her.
Yeah.
But Glenn is kind of known for being a grump.
Right. And it starts off at this Christmas party at the diner. Oh, by the way, I loved Sue, the diner owner. She was just so like
fun.
She was a lot of fun. She was also mean, prickly, but like a sweet lady at the same. Yeah, and he shows up in a Santa suit and he's giving everybody these books, these Christmas presents.
Yeah, I love the actress Jean Yoon. She's
Oh,
on
yeah,
she's on Kim's Convenience, and I
yes,
absolutely
yeah.
loved that
Yeah,
show.
she was so great in this movie. She's like, I don't like you, like
Yeah. I guess she was on the podcast. I just realized that looking at her IMDb, she was on the podcast.
Oh, really? Oh, that had to have been
as Sue.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
okay, so she reprised it. All right.
That's fun. But
Yeah.
like I said, I loved Kim's Convenience. That was a great show. If any of you are wanting like a really positive, funny family show, Kim's Convenience, it's on Netflix. It was really good. But yeah, I mean, this guy Glenn, this is quite the setup that he is.
Very theatrical.
Yeah,
Yes.
theatrical. Because he finds out that he has Huntington's disease, which is a horrible disease.
Yes.
I actually have a friend whose father died of Huntington's disease, and so then of course like all of them are very worried, that they have it because it's
right, because
strong genetic.
Yes. Right, because he raised his two nephews because his sister died of Huntington's disease as well.
Yeah.
And so the
and
nephews
it's a brutal,
are,
it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like ALS as far as like
it is brutal. It's like
it's not a good way to go. And so he knows that, and so that's why he has sort of the time to put together this elaborate
video and like scavenger hunt. Well, it wouldn't be Christmas without a scavenger hunt, right, Rachel?
Yeah.
And he puts clues in certain books that he gave out at the party.
Yeah.
And these people all meet up at this lawyer's place to watch this video. And I was like, okay, it's going to be one of those.
Yeah.
But I think Tom Cavanaugh was really fun. In a very small role, because he's basically just on video. It's like, oh, you solved a clue. Here's the next clue.
Because at first I was like, how could he possibly do all of this if he didn't know that he was going to get murdered? But
right, no,
that's the thing, is that he knew that he was going to die.
He sold, which made his like niece-in-law, like his nephew's wife, like very angry that he sold those first editions, and he was going to go to a place and they were going to help him end his life early, and that was his choice because he saw how his sister suffered and he didn't want to put anybody through that.
Yeah, so his nephew is actually a co-owner of the store.
Yes,
so that's why his name's Fred, and then his
Yeah.
wife Morgan is very upset because
super upset.
is very upset because Fred wasn't given any say in the selling of these books or anything going on.
Right. Yeah. And it was basically just to fund this trip because he didn't want to put himself through that nor his family through that. But he also didn't tell anybody. He just got murdered along the way. That put
Yeah.
a crimp in his. Yeah,
And he gives one of the books to Sue, but Sue and him don't get along, and so she throws it away, and that kind of becomes an important thing
yeah. I
later
mean,
on.
from the get-go, when all these the people who got the books, did you like know right away? You're like, one of these don't belong here. I knew right away. I was like, yeah, somebody
Mm.
doesn't belong in this in this group.
No, I mean, I was pretty surprised, I think,
Oh,
by
okay.
Harvey. I think they did a good job, especially because they at first they show Harvey as being disabled, as using a cane, some of the
Yeah,
other things that I'm like, I don't think that he's the murderer,
right.
that he would even have the strength, to
Yeah, I was
do
suspicious of
something
him from
like
the
that.
get-go. Yeah, I was like, yeah,
You really were.
yeah, I was. I was like,
I
this
thought it was
random dude just
pretty.
comes out of nowhere, Rachel. I was like, yep.
Yeah, I mean, you
I mean,
always
the
have those
twist
suspicions.
of I thought he might have been working with somebody. The twist that he was just faking all that stuff was nice.
Yeah, you always have those suspicions, but I'd say
Yeah.
it was a pretty
Oh, yeah.
good.
Yeah. There were a
Uh,
lot of suspects.
yeah,
Like for
there
a
were a
while,
lot
I
of
was like,
suspects, and there was a lot of pretty good red herrings in
yeah.
this one. Yeah,
Like because his nephew's wife, I was like, she right up there
I
on the
thought
list.
for a second that it might be the lawyer. I thought that was a pretty good red herring.
Well, it was the lawyer.
That well, she was part of it.
Well,
Like
no, I
Har
know, but she was the one who set all that stuff up. I mean, Harvey was hired by her
yeah.
to retrieve these are apparently some they must be worth a lot, these rare
That's
books,
true.
but
She was
yeah.
the brains behind it,
Yeah, so you
the
were right,
organization.
like eh, okay, yeah. And many times Hallmark, the guilty parties sometimes have only one scene, and then you're like, wait a minute, how is this person this kind of was like on the lawyer too. Like
So
it falls under that trope.
yeah, so Fred has a brother,
Excuse me.
and I forget the brother's name, played by Jake Epstein, and
Noah.
Noah. So he gets arrested. They think that
That's
Noah
Jake.
did it for
Yeah.
a little bit of a time.
It was a surprise to see, yeah, Jake
He got the
Epstein pop up.
invitation and the key.
Yeah.
So
And I
that's
was like,
why
ooh,
they
yeah, I was
think.
like, yeah, I like the casting. It was like, ooh, Jake Epstein. They really did a good job in putting like regular faces that Hallmark
Yeah.
audiences would know in in these
So there's a point
shows.
because he stole the flash drive
Right, he
that
breaks
he
into the lawyer's office to steal the flash drive, and the lawyer won't
because
press
he's trying to
charges.
figure out what's going
Yeah, what's
on.
going on? Because he's estranged.
Hmm.
Um,
And then Emily almost gets hit by a car, which was pretty wild.
right, and she's like, "Is this because of the murder investigation?" Because she's also working with Sam too. Like he's
Hmm.
helping. They're both,
Or her
yeah,
backstory because she got that threat.
right. She's like, "Is it, my past, or is it from this stuff?" And she's working hand in hand with Sam. They're both into this.
Yeah,
Like,
but she doesn't tell Sam about her past.
no,
And
he's clueless about it. But
yeah.
she does make a couple of mistakes, which makes Sam, question it and
Hmm.
be a little
Yeah.
nosy and try to gather some like this doesn't make any sense. Like she slips up on that backstory,
Yeah.
you
This
know.
was a great arc for Brooke. She was very funny. I love when she does
Oh.
Snowga to join us for
I was
Snowga.
like, what? Yeah, and she forces it. She's like, no, and she forces Emily, like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, it
That would have been
was.
me. I would have been like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And then later on when she's like, I thought this was a team event.
I
Thanks.
loved it. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I got books too. At
Yeah.
the end, like that was so.
And so then Violet, that she's going to be having Christmas with her mom, but she wants to have Christmas early with her dad.
You know,
We Yeah, so
now
there's
that you
kind of that
mention it,
dynamic.
because I didn't think about it in the moment, but you're right. She was too old for it. Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. But
And
I was
so
figuring
then
she was, yeah, 16, 17 maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
So Fred is attacked and the Christmas Carol is taken. And they say it seems like everything's designed around Fred. So it makes you wonder, what's going on. And
Right.
so that was effective. And we also find out that Morgan's blood was on Glenn. So that was a red herring there. She was angry at Glenn
Not
because he
right.
sold the rare editions.
Yes, and she went to confront him and she found him stabbed in because he died at Sue's
Yeah.
diner. So like poor Sue is like almost a suspect because
Mm-hmm.
he didn't like her
Because they didn't
chili,
get
right?
along. Yeah, they didn't
Yeah,
like her
and
chili. And
yeah, and it
and,
was
and
her.
she had beans in her chili.
Right. And, because it's her knife, her place, and all over there. But Rachel, would you think that girl would get in more trouble? She just left that dude there and didn't tell anybody that, he's dead up in the in the
Mm,
storage room.
yeah,
And she's a nurse, she should
probably.
know better. Like, I think you would be like, no, I think you gotta serve
Well,
some,
yeah,
at
and
least some
you'd want to
community
because you wouldn't
service.
want to be
Yeah, you don't,
if
yeah, you
especially if your fingerprints and stuff are on, like you
right.
would.
But she ended up getting in trouble for that anyway, like a potential like suspect. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
I think you would have gotten in trouble, period, for that. You can't just leave a scene of a crime like that.
Yeah.
But everybody does.
So Noah finds a secret cubby in Emily's wall because Sam had punched into her
Boy, this
wall.
was a great like, hey, she's got a leak
Yeah.
in her store and she's trying to take care of it. And Sam goes, "Oh no, we can take it." He makes a huge hole, and she's looking at him like, "Sir, no, I didn't want you to do this." And yes, and because I think Noah comes in and says, yeah, these old homes had like secret tunnels, and they're still
Uh-huh.
existing. And she did not have one in her house. She just had, but that made them think that there was one in the bookstore.
Right.
And that's when they go and find some more clues and that
And
they
they
need.
find this clue in this pineapple juice on this can
Yeah.
of pineapple juice, a flash
Yes.
drive.
Oh my
Like that
gosh.
was,
Like,
I mean, talk about planning. That
yeah,
was
right. I mean, he was so
Glenn.
thorough. Like, I'm gonna put this here, and like, Glenn took some moments. Like, he had a lot of planning to do, you know,
And
and
so,
not that much time to put it together.
yeah. So then Harvey turns out has all of the books. He's been faking his disability,
Oh yeah,
throws
because
his
he steals them
cane
all. Right? Yeah.
away, and Harvey was the imposter. And we find there was a fun moment when she realizes that her store has been bugged and she starts
Oh
talking
yes.
into the bug to Harvey.
Right.
That was fun.
And she finds out that it was Harvey who hit her with the car because she's got her hand in a
Yeah.
brace. And she's like, okay, so it's not my past. It has to do with this murder. And she just does not tell Sam that she's figured it out. She's like, I'm gonna go take care of this myself. And
And Harvey got Sue's book that she'd thrown away. That's how
right,
he got an
because
invitation.
Harvey's kind of onto Emily that she's more than what she
Uh-huh.
appears. And
But
so,
it was pretty like her poor hand an arm when she gets that Harvey throws the knife
right.
at her hand.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh, and like the confrontation in the cemetery where they're just throwing fists at each other, and I was like, all right here. But I do love how she just hog ties him when she wins. I mean, that was so great. I was like,
Yeah,
he
that was
deserves
fun.
this. But it's so funny because then she follows the clues to find everything
And then
that
yeah,
Glenn
this
left.
where
But
she beats him up like I said earlier,
yeah,
it's like it
this
was
was
very realistic feeling of like how
exactly
someone could use self-defense training and
right.
successfully. Like it felt realistic that a woman could actually do this.
Right. But when they get a call that they go to the cemetery and they got this Harvey all tied up and Sam is like, are we not going to investigate this? Like I was like, are the police not going to investigate how he ended up this way?
Yeah.
And like Emily was like, oh, I solved everything. I got all the stuff for you guys. And I was like,
I was like, I don't think any of this would be illegal in a court
I
of
don't
law.
think
Like,
any of
it's a
this like
problem.
and of course Harvey is never going to tell that Sarah whooped him. But he's never gonna no because he's like I can't be a snitch because
Mm,
of his line of career. But he does say, okay, this is who hired me, and it ended up being the lawyer. And I was like, oh, very
yeah.
mundane. I sort of you were hoping it would be more
What was
elaborate.
the lawyer's motivation? She was hoping to get the rare
She
books.
yeah, she just wanted she was like, he's got rare books, they're a lot of money. And it turns out that he did not sell all those rare books. He did leave it to his nephew.
Yeah, so he
Um,
left it for Noah and Fred to be able
yeah,
to start anew.
to start anew, yeah.
And then we get this scene with this she's hiding the old briefcase from the past.
Right. She's like, I'm going to put the past behind me. And she like puts that brief
Yeah.
like she's like, I'm done. I'm just gonna start anew, like fresh, like what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And she hears banging coming from her shop, and it's Sam fixing that hole that
Yeah,
he did
fixing the
because
wall.
Yeah, he's like, let me fix your leak. He does fix that leak, but he causes a massive hole. And I was like, this is just like a man to cause more damage, fixing something than
Yeah.
that. Because this
And
has
we
happened to me, Rachel. Like, let me fix this. I was like, no, no, don't. I still got a hole in my wall, by the way,
yeah,
over
you
that.
create your
But
own you can create
yeah,
your own
so
money pits that way.
yeah, but he's fixing it. He's like, no, I'm gonna fix it. I promised. And he just like, and I was like, oh, it's just such a the idea of him fixing that hole and doing it and not telling her. I thought it was like, this is the sexiest thing ever. I don't know if I'm
Yeah, that was
deprived
good.
of any affection, but I was like, him just fixing that hole in the wall that he did. I was like, yes, I
Yeah.
love you too. Like this is the moment that would break the ice. Like,
Yeah.
of course.
That
And
was
then
a pretty spoony moment. It's true.
yeah,
And she says, I refuse to be taken care of. He's like,
exactly. And
well,
he's like, oh no, let
so
me
we
just
got
help you
double
out.
kisses, which
And
was
he's
pretty
wearing a
good.
tool belt too, Rachel. So that added on to it, right? Yeah, those kisses were like, I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
This
But
is
then
this is
he
what we
gets like new
wanted.
information
Yes,
and
because
he
she. Oh,
finds
by the
out.
way, yeah. Oh, by the way, she goes downstairs because she lives above her shop. She goes downstairs. She's still wearing her pajamas, and he's
Yeah.
in a tool belt. She's in her pajamas, and they're over here making out. And I was like, all right. And she's like, they're gonna go somewhere, so she goes upstairs to get changed. That's when he gets the phone call, and right away, he was like, what? And I was like, oh no. And
Yep.
I was
And he says,
surprised the
Emily
show
Lane,
ended on
who
the
are you
yeah,
really?
right.
Ooh.
And it just ends there. And I was surprised it ended on this cliffhanger because I wasn't really sure if he was. It makes sense, but I wasn't really ever sure if anybody was going to figure it out. Oh, because I was actually hoping we would get all the answers in the sixth episode because I thought I was like maybe this is like a one and done, like we'll get all the answers. But clearly, no,
Mhm.
they have intention to possibly make more.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm looking, I guess there are 3 seasons of the podcast.
Yes, and I think they did all three of those stories in the episodes.
Hmm.
Um,
Let's see, because there's
let's
actually an
see.
IMDb on it on the podcast. I didn't realize that
I do think that
until
for narrative
season
podcasts.
1 is called The Cookie Crumbles. Let's see here. No, you know what? I think they just did season 1.
Yeah,
Because season
every
1,
yeah.
season 1, the first story is about the
Okay.
fiance of the vet.
Uh-huh.
The second story is um looks like it's not the this looks like it's something with a teen heartthrob, so that's different. Um
So how many episodes are because you have how many episodes in the season for the podcast then?
so there are 6 episodes. It does
Oh,
seem like
okay.
these other ones are different.
Oh, all right then. I
So
thought I
then
okay.
season 2, let's see here.
Oh, so maybe they do.
Looks
Okay.
like there's one arc with a play.
All right. So
Uh,
there is more stuff to adapt then.
yeah, so
Wow.
then season 3 is 6 episodes. Yeah, so each
Okay. So there
season.
is so there
So I
is
think
more
there is
to
more.
yeah.
And obviously, I mean, they're leaving it on this cliffhanger, so there's
They want to.
uh-huh.
There was the potential. But I would love to see them do another one. Like you don't have to wait for Christmas. We don't have to do like a year later. Um, we can pick up right where they left off. But
Yeah, let
how
me
long
see.
before we find out whether they will or they won't? I'm sure Sarah Drew will tell everybody before Hallmark does, because Hallmark doesn't announce this. But I mean, they love working with Sarah Drew, so there's a good chance for that.
Yeah.
But I don't have
It
high hopes.
I'm nervous,
I
but
am too. I would love to see it
and I
continue,
think
but
that
I
if
don't
it
know.
doesn't get renewed, it's because of Hallmark Plus, not because it's not a good show, and
Yes.
but I
I could see them change pace and just like either they
it,
do a wrap-up film or continue doing it in films instead of going
it
all out
seems
on
the
a
most
series.
likely of the
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
narrative shows on Hallmark Plus. It seems the most likely to get renewed
Yeah.
to
Mm.
me. But we'll see. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. well
It was.
done.
It was a
They were
nice
good
surprise.
cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you like cozy mysteries, I think you
Oh,
will enjoy
totally.
this.
Yes. This has yeah. This feels right like I mean if you love like Miss Mar no, yeah, if you love Miss Marple, if you love
I mean,
Murder
if you
She
love the
Murder
cozy
She Wrote,
mysteries of Hallmark.
yeah, all this type of like and it harkens back to like some of those classic ones, you know, like I did
Yeah.
feel like it did kind of give me that kind of Murder She Wrote vibe too, because it's still amazing how great those episodes of Murder She Wrote
Yeah.
still hold up today when you rewatch it, and it kind of
True.
gave me that vibe. But I would never be friends with Jessica Fletcher, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Jessica
I
Fletcher.
said, if you like cozy mysteries, this is
Oh,
very
totally, yeah.
entertaining. I'm not sure what else you could want from something like this.
No, this
Great
is
cast, a
yeah.
lot of murder for one small town, but all part of the genre.
This
So,
is the most successful like mystery thing they did for mysteries this year on Hallmark because it's
yeah,
been kind of up and down. They've had some good
I'd
ones
agree. I'd
that
agree.
we'll
I
never see
think it was the
sequels to,
most
Rachel. You will never gonna
this or
see.
the or the Paul Campbell one,
Yeah, yes, right. So
the Mystery Lane or whatever it was.
yeah,
Those are the two best, I think.
right. And so
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get another Mystery Lane, another Curious Cater, and hopefully we'll get this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will they? Do you think there's a chance that they might put this up on Hallmark Mystery at some point? But
Well,
perhaps they,
it's just so tricky. I guess you know where I could see it is at Christmas in July.
right,
I could see them because I
right.
just can't imagine it fitting with Miracles of Christmas. It would be so
No,
weird.
it would
But if
be.
they
It's
did it in July, then that
no,
might
you're
make
right. Yeah, special
sense.
presentation in July. And they could actually split this up into the three movies. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it ended up airing on Hallmark Mystery that way, as
Mm.
like movie installments,
But
since
that
all the
even
episodes
more
are.
so would make it so it would just feel so out of place in the
Ugh,
Christmas
I don't
lineup.
know.
I can't imagine it on either channel. It would feel
Right.
very weird. And so I think
Because it's not also
that's the choice, in my opinion. You have it for
yeah.
July.
Right, because it's not overly Christmassy either, the show either. It's just we're in the
I
month
mean,
of
aside from her
December.
store
Yeah, besides her
and people
store.
almost getting killed by Santa
Well,
sleighs.
yeah, no, but you have like because it's the month of December, so people are doing Christmas things, but it's not really about Christmas at all.
Yeah,
It's just set at that time period, at that
it's
time.
true. It's
And
true.
so like yeah, it is you're right. And the more I think I think that's why it ultimately went. It's kind of a hard fit. But I just wish like, put some
Yeah,
effort into promoting this so people know it.
yeah. And I really do hope that it gets renewed, but we'll see.
Well, I mean,
We'll see what happens.
I guess you're right, but I guess Holidays is probably a better show that they would eventually air on Hallmark proper, which would be easier because
All
I wouldn't be surprised if that pops up on for Christmas in July.
Also, season 3 of the podcast just aired. I didn't
Oh,
realize
okay.
they just
Oh, so it's
posted in
okay. So
November.
this is still ongoing.
Yeah,
Oh,
they just posted season 3 in November.
all right. If you were
So,
the lead
yeah.
of the podcast, would you be upset that, you weren't in the, like the live action remake essentially? Would you be upset that you weren't in that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
interesting because,
Because they're actors. These are like
yeah.
known actors in it. I mean,
Oh, Kylie Evans, she was in the podcast.
see, this is okay. Was she so she was Brooke too on there, maybe? Huh.
Yes. So she
Okay,
was
so
there. So at least they brought back some of
interesting.
the,
Either they didn't want to do it. Like Colby Smulders is a known person, but like I don't think she's so expensive where like Hallmark couldn't like pay her, right? Unless she didn't
I
want
mean,
to
I
do
wouldn't
it.
think she'd be that much more than Sarah Drew. I feel like they're about
They're
the
both
same
on the
level.
same par. They're
I
very
feel like they're about the
established.
same level of maybe Kobe has had, because of the Avengers, she's
Right,
had a
but
little bit
yeah.
more movie success, but I feel like they're about the same level of
Yeah, because they both were
famous.
from, yeah, successful shows. The both of them on. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But you never know, like, there's a million reasons why people can't accept
Just a million
or
reasons.
why,
But I was
things
like,
don't happen. So,
but like
um,
sometimes you hear
but
these stories where like we weren't even offered, but maybe they were offered and they're like, I don't want to do it.
yeah,
I don't want to reprise it. I want to do something different, which is completely fine either or. I liked Sarah Drew. I thought she was great in this too. And she's producing it and all that
yeah.
other stuff. So, it's her baby, like the
Yeah.
TV
So let
version.
us know what you think. What do you think of the three cases? What do you think of the show overall? What do you think of Hallmark Plus? All
Oh,
of
and you know
that we
what?
would
We should,
love to hear.
yeah.
If you are a podcast listener of Mistletoe Murders, we would love to hear how you think they did in translating it over from the podcast to the show. All of that. We want to hear your comments in the comment section.
And I guess if you're a fan of this, talk about it on like the official Hallmark Plus like Facebook page or on Twitter because
Yeah.
the people were so angry at the way from the way home on the Facebook group that actually changed Hallmark's mind to air it
Mm,
on the channel as well. So like maybe if you get enough people
that's
talking
true.
about it, I don't know how high the engagement is for stuff on
Mm,
Hallmark Plus, but I think if you show an interest in it, maybe. Who
yeah,
knows? I
yeah.
would love to see this continue, but
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes, so I'd love to be surprised. I hate to be a bummer on that,
I
but I
know. I mean,
don't.
I've the same. It'll be, I mean, I don't have high hopes for Hallmark Plus in general, but we'll see. But let us know what you think. And Terry, where can people find you?
I'm at Twitter at Flurry Heaven.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also, make sure that you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. If you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is the best way you can support everything that we do, and we try to make it very worth your while. So please take a look. And we have our merch store where we have tons of fun designs. So take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.